Yo, what's good guys? It's your host HD Samurai here and welcome to the channel. Today I'm here to bring you guys a new what if, this being the what if movie to what if Naruto had the 10 shadows technique. Hopefully you guys do enjoy yourselves. I know I've been away for a while, but here I am posting another video. And with that being said guys, I'm just going to jump right into it. Hopefully you guys do enjoy, and either way, let's get started.
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different, man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro, don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do?
Alright, it's time to begin the what if, but before we do, I do want to let you guys know on one thing. There will be some spoilers here about the 10 shadows technique. There won't be really that many big spoilers, but there will be some spoilers about this technique and its abilities. So if you don't want to hear any of that and you don't want your Jujutsu Kaisen experience to be potentially spoiled or even a little bit spoiled, then please click off right now, since I will be getting into a little bit of spoiler territory here and there. But besides that, if you guys do not care at all, or if you guys already read the manga, then nonetheless, let's proceed. So to begin, we now start off with a much craftier Naruto. As you see, in this timeline, Naruto had a much more realistic aspect to the world that he was living in. And the main reason for this one is the fact that he really took in the treatment of the villagers, as well as the fact that Hiruzen doesn't help him at all, as he really took that to heart and realized that he really needed to fend for himself. And so due to this, Naruto had begun to develop his own skills, this being skills of trap making. At first it started off with simple pranks, but later on Naruto truly began to get into the craft of trap making, and at the same time Naruto's senses were all dialed up to higher levels. So due to this, Naruto was really scouting out, trapping people in, and making sure to steal things for himself. After all, it's survival of the fittest in this world, and unfortunately, he's at the bottom tier, and he needs to climb his way up. And Naruto will continue doing his actions all the way leading up to the academy. Now here's the thing, by this point of the story, Naruto has developed his own set of skills, alternative to the one in the main timeline. As instead of just simply pranking, Naruto would actually have full-on trap making, as his traps were so dangerous to the point where he actually can trap Anbu level shinobis, and if Naruto wanted it to, he can turn it to where it's lethal. And that was not the only thing, as Naruto's sensory abilities were at such a higher level to the point where he can sense basically almost everyone, as even Anbu who hid away from Naruto could be sensed from him. It got to the point where even Inuzukas, who are actually meant to sense people whenever they're near, actually have a hard time to, sensing half the things Naruto can sense. And not only that, but thanks to Naruto learning about sensory and being at such a high level, he also knows how to conceal his own presence to the point where Inuzukas can never find him, Anbu can never find him, and only a few people are able to find him in the entire village. But only a handful. Yeah, so needless to say, Naruto's childhood stats were already looking quite impressive for the life of shinobi. And as we continue on with Naruto's life throughout the academy, we see him continue to grow. As in this timeline, Naruto doesn't really stand out much except for the teachers, as the main reason for this one is because of the fact that Naruto minds his own business. He's quiet, he's focused, and overall he doesn't bother any one of the, the rookie 9 or anything like that, since he doesn't really care about any of them. In this world, Naruto truly just looks out for himself. And if someone wants to talk to him, yeah, they can talk to him, but it's not like he's gonna really respond much, besides, acting respectfully. So thanks to this, Naruto lives most of his academy life in peace. Although teachers here and there try to embarrass Naruto or try to make it to where he looks stupid or that he's dangerous, Naruto most of the time did not really care and always respond with respect and also answering questions, sometimes right, sometimes wrong. So due to this, most students just think that Naruto is just average. And for Naruto's life outside of the academy, things have been going pretty good for him. Naruto has gotten enough material that when traded away could actually give him a large amount of money. Enough for him to at least finish the academy and get himself into an apartment. And not only that, but Naruto had also finally unlocked his curse technique, or in this what if, his Kagegenkai. The main reason for this one is because of the fact that the 9 Toes chakra in this what if had mutated with the Uzumaki chakra as well as the chakra of the Namikaze. Due to this, it kind of created this Kagegenkai. Now, Naruto at first discovering this Kagegenkai was confused, as he had been able to summon out these dogs that were able to hunt down certain animals for him so that he can cook them up and eat them. But the thing is, he had a hard time summoning them at first. But later on throughout Naruto's life in the academy, he would eventually end up learning about the hand signs and begin to commit them to memory, as he was able to bring them out as if it was just second nature to him. But later on, Naruto also begins to realize that there were not only 2 creatures or 3, there were multiple of them. Some that he actually have a hard time at bringing out. But not because that they were difficult to bring out necessarily, since he had large quantities of chakra. No, it's because of the fact that some of these creatures are actually pretty aggressive to Naruto, and due to this he actually needs to fight off against them. And the first time that Naruto ever had to experience this was when he tried to summon out Nue, the bird Shikigami. Upon its summon, it instantly began to try to kill Naruto. Luckily, thanks to the divine dogs, they were able to slow it down for a little bit, but it still tried to kill Naruto even when it was getting beaten down by those two. Eventually, after taking care of the divine dogs, it tried to swoop in for the kill of Naruto, but by this point, Naruto had already set up a bunch of traps by this point to kill it, which did work, as Naruto was able to rig it with an explosive tag and blew up the Shikigami. Later on, after Naruto summoned it after a bunch of hesitation, it actually fully listened to Naruto's command, and this was when Naruto actually realized how dangerous yet powerful his technique really was. As we have a time skip into the future, as we now end the academy, we see Naruto now sitting down with his newly set up Team 7, this being Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke. Naruto would be there sitting down, as in this timeline Naruto's fit would be very different, as he'll be having a brown jacket with a black shirt underneath, wearing long black pants, as well as wearing black shinobi sandals. At the same time, Naruto will be keeping his goggles in this one, as like I said, Naruto is pretty good at sensory and tracking, and these goggles actually help when it comes to those things. So he decided to keep them around. Just decided to let you guys know. Now, the team dynamic would be pretty different, as they don't really hate each other, but they don't really like each other either. They're just kind of unknown to each other. Sasuke doesn't really like Sakura, and he doesn't really care about Naruto in this one either, since he hasn't seen Naruto bring out his true power. Although Sakura just completely likes Sasuke, and she just basically ignores Naruto, as she herself has no idea, well, what the kid likes or really anything about him. Eventually later on, Kakashi would then arrive, and they would do their little introductions before finally explaining about the bell test. And as we flash towards the following day, the bell test would then begin with all teams rushing through the forest, trying to hide away from Kakashi. Now, the one thing that Kakashi would realize is that he can't sense Naruto at all throughout this exam. The boys seemed to completely disappear to the point where Kakashi actually thought that Naruto had left. But later on, after fighting off against Sasuke and trapping Sakura in a genjutsu, he would eventually begin to encounter a bunch of traps set up by Naruto. And these traps were dangerous. Had it been Sakura or Sasuke, they would have been killed off if they actually fell into it. So Kakashi was at first very upset about the whole idea, but realized that he actually needed to take Naruto very seriously, since if this is what he could do with the traps, then if he gave this kid enough prep time, he may actually kill him. And due to this, Kakashi had to move around the entire area very carefully until he eventually decided to give up on trying to get Naruto, since he realized it would be too much of a calculated risk, especially with the way that Naruto's building up these traps really quickly. And soon after coming down and reading his book, this is when the bell would then finally ring, signifying the end of the bell test. And eventually, after all the students end up gathering up in one place, Kakashi begins to make fun of them all before trying to tie Sakura into a stump, including Naruto as well, since he believed that Naruto did the least out of everyone, even though he was setting up traps. But before Kakashi can even reach Naruto, this is when Naruto would then suddenly dodge out of the way of Kakashi's hands, as this is when he then passes two bells at Sakura and Sasuke, surprising all of them. At this, Kakashi was so confused that he ends up looking at his own bells, only to see that they were gone, as this is when he actually sees Naruto walking away, telling them that they passed, as well as explaining the very meaning of this entire exam. And seeing the fact that Naruto technically did show that he could actually work with these two, or enough to the point where he's able to accomplish a mission to get the common objective, he decided to pass Team 7, as with that, you would then have the following months of just doing simple D-rank missions. Now, throughout the following months of D-rank missions, Team 7's dynamic would slowly shift, as in this timeline, Sasuke begins to see much more of a rival in Naruto, since he saw Naruto's skill during the bell test. Especially since he was surprised that Naruto was able to take a bell, and not only one bell, but two of them from Kakashi, and was actually able to make it to where both him, Sakura, and the rest of them were able to pass. So yeah, Sasuke sees Naruto as much more of a rival in this timeline, and as for Sakura, well, she doesn't really know what to think of Naruto. At first, she thought that Naruto was trying to show up her Sasuke, but that turned out to be completely false, as Naruto had no show of being arrogant or smug about his actions at all. In fact, he blatantly shows and actually says it himself that he really doesn't care. Another thing was the fact that she realizes that Naruto doesn't treat any of them like friends. He treats them as if they're co-workers or acquaintances, which honestly made Sakura pretty sad, as she tries to befriend Naruto in this timeline, to which Naruto, he talks to her respectfully and everything. It's just that there's not really any click of friendship here and there. And as for Naruto, after the following months that went by, Naruto had once again gained an increase in power, as every single day after doing his normal routine of being a genin, Naruto would begin to practice the hand signs of summoning out his creatures. And he actually began to unlock a few more, such as the Great Serpent, the Max Elephant, and the Rabbit Escape, and a few more, as Naruto would be able to take them down thanks to his trap, as well as thanks to his other Shikigami. But here's the thing, throughout these following months, Naruto would encounter the very first spirit that he actually lost to, and the one that nearly killed him. This being the General Mahoraga. As during in the middle of the night, as Naruto was training during this point throughout the following months, Naruto would be practicing different combos with his Shikigami. And just as Naruto was about to be finished with his training and was actually about to head out to rest, his body would take complete control over Naruto's, body, as his instincts override Naruto's system, and due to this, Naruto begins to get into a certain formation as he begins to mutter a chant. As just like that, as Naruto was done with the chant, suddenly a coffin would then appear in the very center in front of Naruto. As suddenly we would then see it, the Divine General, Mahoraga, has appeared. As Naruto would see Mahoraga appeared, he would instantly be shaken to his core as he could feel the pressure this thing was emitting. Unlike the others that were definitely strong, Naruto was confident that he could deal with them. But this thing? No way. Naruto tries to summon out his different Shikigami in order to help out in fighting this thing, but to his surprise, they'll be killed off in an instant, so fast that Naruto couldn't even see it. And just as the General Mahoraga was done slaying them, it would appear right in front of Naruto before suddenly slapping him hard in the face, actually cracking his jaw and causing him to be sent flying and crashing through multiple trees. Naruto gets up and begins to try to fight Mahoraga, trying to get some distance while setting up some trap. But the thing is, everything that Naruto threw at this thing, it just adapted to it. It survived, it was able to tank it, and whatever Naruto tried to throw anything that was chakra based, it would just adapt to it instantly. As Naruto realized that he was completely outdone by this thing. As throughout the night, the thing would continue to destroy everything in the area, not really caring about the damage it caused, as all it wanted to do was actually hunt down Naruto and kill him. And by the time he finally found Naruto, he gave Naruto a beating that he would never forget throughout his entire life. As Naruto, by the end of Mahoraga's rampage, would be beaten to near death, and the only way he was able to stop Mahoraga as it was trying to finish him off was that he forcibly had to cut off the chakra that was fueling Mahoraga. As thanks to this, Mahoraga was actually forced away and never released back, thanks to Naruto being way too afraid and way too weak at this point to face off against it. And after that following day, Naruto would actually make an oath declaring that he would never summon out Mahoraga unless he finally ends up mastering it, or at the very least under extreme circumstances. Like if something was completely out of his control and there was nothing else he could do, that was going to be his trump card. And now with this part of the story explained, we can now move on to the Land of the Waves. Now, not much really changes from the Land of the Waves, as Tazuna still ends up accepting Team 7 thanks to Hiruzen's request. Team 7 ended up going to the Land of the Waves. They ended up encountering the Chunin brothers and Zabuza, but even those enemies still fall to this current Naruto. As Naruto in this timeline is much more focused and much more strategic, so he's able to take down these guys relatively easily, along with the help of Sasuke when it came to Zabuza. Later on, they would eventually end up getting the training after finding out that Zabuza was still alive, so due to this, they end up having a 7-week training. During that time, Naruto doesn't really practice much, as he does end up gaining a little bit of chakra control from the tree walking, but other than that, Naruto mostly focuses on his taijutsu, since that's what he's really lacking in this story. Now, over time, they'll eventually end up getting the rematch against Zabuza, to which Zabuza still ends up losing in the main timeline. And in this timeline, Sasuke does not actually end up falling to unconsciousness, as he did not have to protect Naruto in this timeline, since Naruto actually showed that he was actually pretty competent and is actually able to think things through. Due to this, Naruto and Sasuke are able to defeat Haku, and Naruto does not release the Nine-Tails chakra in this one. As after that, we also have the encounter with Gato and his men, as they end up appearing trying to take away the bridge as well as trying to kill Tazuna, only for Kakashi and Naruto and Sasuke all able to team up and take down these guys, with Naruto giving Gato to the villagers to decide his fate, while at the same time he ends up taking a large portion of Gato's money while leaving the rest of it for the villagers so that way they can continue building up their village. As after that, that'll be the end of the Land of the Waves. And moving on with the story, we can now continue on all the way to the Chunin exams. As the very start of the Chunin exams doesn't really change much, as Team 7 still ends up encountering Gaara and his team, and Gaara still ends up acknowledging Sasuke, as he doesn't acknowledge Naruto in this one, since just like many others, he underestimated Naruto. Mostly because of the fact that Naruto, like I said, he just looks completely average and doesn't even speak up much in this what if. But moving on, we have Team 7 entering the first portion of the Chunin exams and are able to get past it relatively easily. As after that, they now move on to the second portion, this being the Forest of Death, and in the very beginning of it, nothing much really changes either, as Team 7 are actually able to encounter an enemy just as they enter. But luckily, Naruto and Sasuke are able to take him down relatively easily. Another thing I forgot to mention here at this point is the fact that Team 7 in this one, they're way more cooperative with each other, and not only that, but Sasuke and Sakura are taking this way more seriously now. So that means Sakura actually has some genjutsu as well as some knowledge of, first aid in order to make sure that she's useful. While Sasuke, he definitely is pushing himself to try to become stronger and tries to challenge Naruto into a 1v1, to which Naruto would decline all the time. But still, nonetheless, Sasuke and Sakura are way stronger. And also Naruto too. But back to the story, after defeating the enemy team, Team 7 were able to take away their scrolls, and they were now ready to pass the Forest of Death. However, unfortunately, things do not go their way, as Orochimaru would attack Team 7 just like he did in canon. Now in this timeline, Naruto does not get separated from his team, so that means he's actually able to stand by there and fight longer with them. But here's the thing though, instead of facing off against Orochimaru head on like Naruto did in the main timeline, this Naruto is much more focused and realizes that he's completely outmatched facing off against this guy. It doesn't matter how brave you are or how much, charismatic you are. It doesn't matter if someone is stronger than you. So due to this, Naruto ends up setting up traps and ends up summoning out his Shikigami in order to get some distance away from Orochimaru and the rest of the team. He begins to maneuver his team throughout the entire Forest of Death, as both Sasuke and Sakura were pretty shaken up by the bloodlust. Luckily, Naruto in this timeline, he's faced off against too many enemies, especially Shikigami, and after the whole interaction with Mahoraga, Naruto has been kind of desensitized to killing intent. I mean, he was already really near death after facing off against Mahoraga, so he's kind of, he doesn't really fear as much. So due to this, Naruto will be carrying around his team out of the way of danger from Orochimaru, while Orochimaru, he was taking more and more interest in Naruto, since he knows about summoning jutsus and all that stuff. But the thing is, there's not been someone documented to have multiple summoning jutsus. This caused Orochimaru to speculate that maybe Naruto actually had a Keigenkai, and this honestly interested him greatly. So due to this, after taking care of the divine dogs and any other of those Shikigamis that Naruto would summon out, Orochimaru would finally stumble upon Team 7 just as Naruto was trying to set up another trap. As Orochimaru would then punch Naruto in the gut, sending him flying and crashing into a tree, he begins to terrorize Team 7 as he begins to beat up on all of them. Sakura and Sasuke finally snap out of it as they try to fight back, but unfortunately it's not enough against the Snake Sannin. Naruto, after realizing that his back is against the wall and all his traps, and not only that but all his Shikigami were useless against Orochimaru, he realized that there was only one thing he could do. Although the circumstances were not ideal, he had no other choice. He was way too weak and there was only one thing he knew that could take care of Orochimaru. As he would then get into familiar stands, this is when Naruto was going to resort to summoning Mahoraga. And Orochimaru, after seeing the pose, he was deeply interested, only to feel himself then shake from terror. As he could feel it, the build-up of chakra that Naruto was building up for this summon was going to be more dangerous than any of the other ones that he summoned out. Due to this, Orochimaru realized that he needed to knock out Naruto before he could complete the summon, or else he might be in big trouble. As Naruto was about to finish out the chant and summon out Mahoraga, unfortunately it was too late, as Orochimaru would appear right in front of him and knock him down with a neck chop, causing Naruto to fall unconscious. As Orochimaru would validate Naruto and begin to give him an A+ examination for the fact that he actually did really well against him, unlike his other two teammates, he looks between Naruto and Sasuke before suddenly nodding his head, deciding what he was going to do. As is when he not only ends up biting Sasuke on the neck, but he also ends up biting Naruto on the neck. Now, just as Orochimaru bited Naruto on the neck, he would then have to retreat. He would then have to retreat for a little bit because he actually got burned when he did that, since Naruto still has the Nine Tails in this timeline. But luckily, Orochimaru was a Sannin for a reason, and he is a genius for a reason, as he ends up disrupting the Nine Tails' chakra, causing it to have no more interference with Naruto. And not only that, but he also once again applies the curse mark onto Naruto, allowing for Naruto to now successfully have the curse mark. As now with his job being done, Orochimaru would then leave, deeply interested in now having the vessel of the Sharingan in his hands. But not only that, but he also has the Nine Tails Jinchuriki and a whole new Keigenkai that he could experiment on. As with that, Orochimaru would then leave the Forest of Death. Soon after Orochimaru would have left, Sakura would end up waking up to take care of both of her teammates, as she ends up protecting them and healing them from all the damage that they went through. Now during this time, the Sound team would attack just like they did in canon, and Sakura would be able to stand up against them since she's actually way more powerful than she was at this point. But unfortunately, even though she's stronger, she's not going to be able to beat all three of them, so due to this, she looks like she's actually going to fail. Luckily, Lee and Ina Chikacho would try to help out, but even they were struggling since Lee underestimated them, and Ina Chikacho were, well, they were trying their best to help out, but it seems as if they really were not playing around. They really wanted to get after Sasuke. And just when things seemed to be hopeless though, this is when suddenly eerie energies would then erupt from the cave that they were hiding in, as they see both Sasuke and Naruto end up getting back on their feet and approaching Sakura. And when they finally approach Sakura, they begin to ask her a question: who hurt her? Now Sakura and everyone else was honestly silently horrified, since they never felt this sinister energy before, but Sakura nonetheless still explained that it was the sound team, and this wound up leading to a very horrific moment for every individual that was currently watching, as right before her eyes, Sasuke and Naruto would then leave Sakura's vision as she ends up turning around to look where they gone, only to be horrified as right in front of her she will see Sasuke tearing out the arms of one of the male sound genin, while Naruto had plunged his entire arm into another guy's chest, killing him off instantly. As Sasuke would end up ripping the other guy's arm off, everyone would sit there in pure horror as they realized the brutality of Team 7. As Sasuke would have a sadistic smile on his face, Naruto would be there, as he always been, stoic, silent, and emotionless, as he didn't care about what he had just done. As everyone who was watching would be there in silent horror, this is when finally the energy that they were both wielding would then suddenly vanish, as both of them would then wince in pain. Sasuke and Naruto would then revert back to how they were normally, but everyone else was still shaken up by the whole incident. Now, during this time, Lee's team would arrive and take Lee away, with Neji evaluating both Naruto and Sasuke, as he realized that both of them are going to be way more of a challenge and also way more of a threat. While at the same time, Ina and Chika show, well, they got the heck out of there since they did not want to fight Team 7 anymore or be around them. Also, a bit of a fun fact, but by this point of the story, Ino has now lost her crush on Sasuke completely, since in the main timeline, Sasuke did not go through with ripping the guy's arm, but in this timeline he did, and that kind of completely made her, instead of feeling infatuation with Sasuke, she's now deeply afraid of him. So yeah, I just want to tell you guys know. Now after a while, making sure that both her teammates were okay, Sakura as well as the rest of Team 7 would end up going back to the tower, as they will end up reporting to Iruka Sensei, and as they were now going to the preliminaries. Now for the preliminaries, not much really changes here, as all of Team 7 were able to pass their fights. Yes, all of Team 7, including Sakura. Like I said, she's way stronger than she was in this point of the story, so she was actually able to beat Ino with a couple of genjutsus before landing her with a powerful punch. At the same time, Naruto and Sasuke were able to beat their fights, except Naruto was a little bit more brutal in his fight against Kiba. As during the fight, instead of the main timeline where Naruto and Kiba would have a pretty even fight, Naruto in this timeline, well, he completely outweighed Kiba entirely. He outmatched Kiba this entire fight. He led him on, he put up smoke screens, he disrupted Kiba's senses, causing him to not be able to smell Naruto out, and due to this, Naruto was able to summon out his Shikigami to straight up jump Kiba, surprising everyone since they didn't even know Naruto had the ability. And just when Kiba looked like he was finally wrapped, Naruto would then appear right on top of Kiba and just continue beating on him, and continue doing so until a Jonin had to pull him off. Now this ends up resulting in everyone being wary of Naruto, especially the Jonin, since they think that the Nine Tails is actually making signs of it being released once again. As after that, the rest of the matches will play out the exact same, all the way until Hiruzen ends up announcing the 1-month training. Now after the announcement, both the Hokage and Kakashi were now looking for Naruto, since they actually wanted to take him away so that way they can actually check on the seal, and also check if maybe Orochimaru did something to Naruto. Mind you, they had not found out yet that Naruto had gotten the curse mark. The reason for this one was because of the fact that Sasuke was already showing the fact that he was actually wincing from pain and all that stuff. He was being much more expressive about the fact that he'd been placed with the curse mark, while Naruto, he mostly hides how he's feeling most of the time. He doesn't present it off, so they don't know that he had a curse mark. And sooner than later, as the Hokage and Kakashi would look for Naruto, they unfortunately had to stop their search since they needed to go back to their own responsibilities. So that would end up leaving Naruto alone with Orochimaru's chakra and the Nine Tails' chakra going at it. Now Naruto throughout this time would have a very strong struggle with trying to control his chakra. He couldn't even mold it, he couldn't climb trees, he couldn't walk on water, and due to this, he was having trouble just moving around in general. But nonetheless, Naruto was able to power through it, and he was actually able to come up with some pretty cool techniques with his Shikigami manipulation, as he actually found out that he could actually fuse his Shikigami together. This ends up leading to a bunch of combinations. For example, he's able to combine Nue and the Toads, he's able to combine the 2 divine dogs, and he continues to end up making these different types of combinations for different types of, situations. Another thing was the fact that Naruto ended up realizing that he can actually move through his shadow, allowing him to sneak up on people and him landing a finishing blow. Now this also ends up working really well since Naruto at this point was also focusing on taijutsu as well as just buffing up his physical strength, since this Naruto was actually lacking in physical combat. So due to this, Naruto was actually making a pretty good and well steady progress even though he was extremely handicapped. But nonetheless, we're able to continue on with the entire story all the way into the tuning exams. As we see Naruto arrive at the tuning exams, he will face off against Neji, and Naruto is actually able to beat Neji in this timeline once again way easier. Thanks to his manipulation of his Shikigami, as well as the fact that Naruto is able to travel through shadows and is way stronger and faster, this allowed Naruto to actually get the jump on Neji, allowing him to beat Neji down, as well as using the combination between the two divine dogs in order to end up landing a few claw strikes on Neji, resulting in Naruto to win. Now, everyone would actually be very impressed by how strong Naruto is, while the Hokage was extremely wary of Naruto. The thing is, he had not been able to find Naruto throughout the entire point of the month time skip. As he had been way too busy with running the village and looking for Orochimaru, he sent out Jiraiya to look for him, and even Jiraiya was not able to find Naruto. And the main reason for this one was because of the fact that Naruto had moved out of his apartment. He no longer lived there. And not only that, but he lived on the entirely opposite side of Konoha. So that means they were not able to find him at all in that district. Naruto also got so used to hiding his presence and surviving to the point where he does it naturally. To the point where no one is able to see him. He's like a ghost. So yeah, it was actually very difficult for anyone to find him. So seeing Naruto here caused Hiruzen to at first be very alert and wary, but nonetheless he was actually very proud of Naruto's progress. As after this, the rest of the matches will play out the same as they do in canon, all the way until Sasuke's match. And while he does put up a better fight than he did in canon, unfortunately it still ends up leading to the Konoha Crush. Now when the Konoha Crush begins, Naruto is able to snap out of it instantly, and just like that he instantly gets to work as he takes care of shinobis that are all around. Now the first thing Naruto needed to do was evacuate the citizens and everything, since that was his job, and that was exactly what he would do as he ends up moving the citizens out of the arena. Now at the same time he was also trying to fight off against the enemy shinobi, which he actually got help from Guy and Kakashi, and during this time Kakashi would actually give Naruto a mission to hunt down Gaara, to which Naruto would do so. Now this is where we will see Naruto hunt down Gaara, and most of the time that Naruto is hunting down Gaara, it will remain the same as he would eventually end up arriving to see Sasuke being down. Sasuke had been relying on the curse mark by this point, and unfortunately he was still losing as his body was way too weak to handle its power at this point. And now seeing that Naruto was here, Gaara would once again get very excited as he would rush a buttload of sand towards Naruto, which caused Naruto to have no choice but to instantly summon out Nue to avoid it. With Nue now in the air, Naruto would realize that Nue actually grew way bigger, as this was actually due to the fact that Naruto can now add way more chakra into his Shikigami, allowing him to increase in size. So seeing this, Naruto begins to give Nue a large amount of chakra, which ends up allowing Nue to tower over the entire forest before he ends up releasing a ginormous war cry, as he ends up releasing a ginormous amount of thunder. Now this thunder actually ends up hitting Gaara directly, causing him to be burned quite badly, as even some of his sand would be turned to glass, but he ends up screaming out in anger as he decides to release the Shikaku. And right in front of Naruto's eyes, he will watch in complete shock as the Shikaku would then arrive right in front of him. And as the Shikaku would then arrive, Naruto will once again feel it, the eerie energy once again creeping up on him. As the Shikaku who had finally been released would begin to laugh and everything, it will end up shooting out a wind bullet at Naruto, who currently right now was still taking in the ginormous amount of energy that Orochimaru was giving him. Now, due to Naruto being too occupied, this will end up causing Nue to be knocked out of the sky, causing Naruto to be, falling from the sky and end up hitting multiple trees hard. Now, this will cause Naruto to almost hit unconsciousness, but he was still able to retain it a little bit as the Shikaku ended up laughing at Naruto before suddenly wrapping him up in sand. Now, as Naruto closes his eyes, expecting for death, this is when suddenly the Nine Tails' chakra would finally begin to react. And in a very surprising manner, the Nine Tails was actually able to burn away the seal that Orochimaru had placed on it, but this is when something entirely weird would happen, as it seems as if the Nine Tails' chakra and Orochimaru's curse mark would then begin to synchronize with each other, as this is when Naruto would then feel an influx of energy that he's never felt before. As just when the Shikaku was about to kill Naruto, this is when Naruto would then break out of the sand dome, as he was now deeming some really weird markings all around his face, but not only that, but his eyes were a combination of red and purple. As Naruto would look at the Shikaku would try to attack Naruto once again, shooting an air bullet to which Naruto would dodge out the way, disappearing right before its eyes. Now as the Shikaku would look around for Naruto wondering what happened, this is when once again Nui would take to the skies, but this time it was bigger than even the Shikaku, And not only that, but Naruto was once again riding on top of its head. And as Naruto was riding on the head of Nue, this is when he then ends up summoning up the Divine Dogs before merging them with Nue. Now this new combination will be very terrifying, as the Shikaku will look at it in shock. As Naruto would see that momentary lapse of shock, he would then order the new creation to attack the Shikaku, which it would do so. As not only would it bite into Shikaku, but it would also end up releasing thunder from its wings, causing the Shikaku to be burned and feel pain. At the same time, Naruto would see that Gaara was, wide open, so due to this, he ends up moving with his new energy boost that he got from the Nine Tails' chakra and the Orochimaru's energy from the curse mark, as he would then punch Gaara in the face, sending him flying out of the Shikaku's head and causing the Shikaku to collapse. As due to this, Gaara would end up falling down to the ground, as he would be bleeding from the head profusely as he ends up waking up. He looks horrified as he ends up looking at Naruto, telling him to get away, with Naruto not stopping. But just as Naruto was about to finish the deed, this is when Temari and Kankuro would then arrive. And in anime fashion, as Naruto would see the two siblings there to protect their younger one, this would cause Naruto to snap out of his transformation. He will look at them for a while before telling them to go before he gets tired, and due to this, they decide to listen to him since they think that he's going to kill them off if they don't. So with that, Gaara ends up leaving with his siblings, and this causes Gaara to have a new mentality, as he ends up apologizing to both Temari and Kankuro. Now Naruto, after seeing them leave, would then finally fall unconscious, as he had been very stressed from the influx of energy, as this is where we then have a time skip. Now after the events of the Konoha Crush, Naruto would wake up in the hospital, as he'll be given a brief report about everything that went down. After the events had occurred, unfortunately Hiruzen would die just like in the main timeline, and due to this, the village needed to elect a new Hokage, to which in this timeline it wasn't Tsunade. Instead, it was Jiraiya. Jiraiya had been elected the 5th Hokage, and the main reason for this one was because of the fact that he unfortunately had no time to go after Tsunade, and thanks to the fact that Danzo was pushing to become the 5th Hokage, he had no choice but to take up the role. Not only that, but by this point Naruto was still recovering, so he couldn't exactly take Naruto along with him to look for Tsunade, to convince her to come back. So with no other choice, Jiraiya ends up taking the 5th Hokage position, and not only that, but he also promoted Naruto to Chunin. And Naruto, after getting all this information, he would soon be rewarded by his Chunin vest, and after that he would continue on his life as a shinobi, but this time as a Chunin. Now as a Chunin, Naruto would go through many different missions at the village, and he would continue going on his Monday tasks of survival. Now throughout this time, Naruto made many acquaintances and people he got along with, you could say. But the thing is, Naruto still kept everything, at bay. He didn't really show off way too much, and he still kept to himself most of the time. The rest of the rookies of Konoha were very impressed by Naruto and Shikamaru, since they both actually got promoted to Chunin in this timeline, which caused many of them to be very impressed, except for Sasuke, who was furious, as he was extremely jealous by the fact that Naruto went up a rank. Due to this, Sasuke continues on training every single day to the point where he's actually beginning to break bones from training, but he didn't care as he couldn't be left behind by Naruto. As to him, he felt like he was finally closing the gap with Naruto, only for that to completely disappear. And mind you, Sasuke was there when Naruto unleashed his new technique, as he saw Naruto merge the two Shikigami into whatever the new creature was. So due to this, Sasuke was feeling ginormous amount of jealousy towards Naruto. While for Naruto, he wasn't exactly getting a very easy circumstance himself. As Naruto, he had to constantly fight off the bad thoughts that he was getting, the bad emotions that were just going towards him. You see, when the curse mark and the Nine Tails chakra synchronized with each other, the Nine Tails actually began to use Orochimaru in order to influence Naruto's mind. Due to this, Naruto would constantly end up waking up in a bad mood, but he didn't show it. He had to constantly end up hear the dark thoughts that were telling him to do extremely bad things, which he never did. But nonetheless, it was always an uphill battle for Naruto every single day. Yet he was able to keep calm, and he was still able to overpower through it since it was his job and he still needed to survive. But here's the thing. Eventually, Naruto's mental capacity couldn't handle it much longer after 3 certain events. The first being when he saw his entire team die by only 2 members of the Akatsuki who were actually going after him. During the time as a Chunin, Naruto would be appointed a leader of a team for a mission, to which he had no choice but to accept. Now, this will be during the end of the mission, as Naruto and his team finally completed it, and it seems as if things were going to go smoothly. Until both members of the Akatsuki would then arrive, as this will be Kisame and Itachi, as they state that they're going after Naruto. Now Naruto tried his best to be the organized leader, as he ends up instantly putting some distance between the Akatsuki, summoning out his Shikigami to take care of them while at the same time setting up traps, trying to maneuver his team away from danger. But the thing is, Naruto, even though he has fought for so long and even though he's been a shinobi for quite a while now, he doesn't have that much experience yet. So due to this, both Itachi and Kisame were able to get through all the traps as well as the Shikigami, as this is when they will then slowly begin to take care of all of Naruto's teammates one by one. As by the time the last one was taken care of, Naruto would see that he completely failed in saving all his teammates. As Naruto threw everything he could at the Akatsuki duo, using everything he could to his advantage, as he was able to get a couple of good hits on them, but that was not enough to protect his teammates. And the only way that Naruto was able to get away from either of them was by using Shadow Sneak, as he ends up using Kisame's shadow to hide in. At the same time, he ends up concealing his presence entirely, causing neither of them to know where he went. So due to the fact they saw that he was no longer there, they ended up leaving the area, causing Naruto to once again be free, but unfortunately he had to mark this mission a failure. Even though Naruto completed the task along with the rest of his team had died, and he couldn't really call that a successful mission. Another incident that took a big impact on Naruto would be the fallout of Team 7. As in this timeline, Naruto, although he was a Chunin, he was still technically part of Team 7. But the thing is, Sasuke couldn't handle that. His inferiority complex was kicking into an all-time level, and with the Orochimaru's curse mark manipulating everything, it caused everything he was doing to go haywire. He begins to insult Naruto multiple times for doing practically nothing, and not only that, but he openly tries to challenge Naruto all the time, telling Naruto that he wasn't better than him, even though Naruto blatantly told him multiple times that he didn't care. It wasn't a competition. To Naruto, it was just a job for survival, that was it. But Sasuke didn't care, and due to this, he actually requested a fight from Naruto, and even when Naruto declined, he still decided to fight him. This resulted in both Naruto and Sasuke fighting, with Naruto winning, since in this time Naruto was actually able to disarm Sasuke before he could do anything too dangerous. Not only that, but this Naruto has a little bit more experience than Sasuke in this timeline, so he was able to overpower him. And this pissed off Sasuke greatly, to the point where he pretty much just renounced being on Team 7, since he just couldn't handle being on a team that was holding him back, as he says it in his own words. Now once again, this would only be because of the fact that the curse mark was influencing Sasuke by a lot, and thanks to Naruto being a Chunin, Sasuke's inferiority complex was going up like crazy. So due to this, Team 7 would have a big fallout. Kakashi tried his best to fix everything, but the thing is, Sasuke wasn't listening. This took another impact on Naruto, as even though he didn't exactly see them as friends or anything like that, he still had some care for Team 7, since it was actually one of his very first instances of actually getting to connect with people. You know what I mean? Even though they were work partners or acquaintances in his eyes, they still were one of the very few connections that he had. So due to this, he ended up once again feeling a ginormous emotional toll, and it didn't get even better because of the fact that the curse mark as well as the 9 tails of chakra was influencing it. And the final lid on all of this would be the last event, that meaning the talk with Kabuto. During the time when Naruto was off work, he would be approached by Kabuto. As Kabuto would end up talking to Naruto, Naruto would try to threaten him, saying that he would turn him in, but Kabuto ends up hitting Naruto with a proposition, as he ends up telling Naruto that he can give him the stable life that he wanted. Mind you, in this timeline, Naruto does not want to become Hokage, as even he could tell that job isn't worth it. Instead, Naruto just wants to live a stable life, eventually find a woman that he can marry and pass on from the world feeling relieved and having to live a successful life. But think about everything that Naruto's been through. It's leading to something that isn't an average life. It isn't something that he's going to be stable with at all. Since he has the Akatsuki going after him, he has Sasuke being, well, a complete douche to him and trying to make him a rival, which he doesn't want to become Sasuke's rival at all. He really does not care. And not only that, but he has to keep up with his life as Shinobi, to which he admits is all fine and everything, but it's not something he wants to do forever. So it is, Naruto really has to take into account of everything. As he looks at Kabuto and thinks about it over and over again, and after getting his thoughts very influenced by the 9 tails and the curse mark, unfortunately Naruto would decide that he wants to leave the Hidden Leaf Village. So during that same night, Naruto ended up crossing off his headband, pretty much allowing everyone to know that he had been in the village, and at that same time he also took everything that he ever owned and just left the village. Now during this time, we also see Sasuke also leaving the village, as he had just finished knocking out Sakura, as the Sound Four, just like in canon, came to attack him and Sasuke got beaten up, And after a little bit of persuasion, he ends up deciding to join Orochimaru as well. Now, as Sasuke was leaving, he would be surprised to see Naruto there along with Kabuto, since they were all going as a unit. And at first, Sasuke thought that Naruto was going to stop him, but only to be surprised as Naruto just shook his head and showed the scratched off headband, surprising Sasuke. As Naruto would throw the headband back onto the floors of Konoha, him as well as the rest of the sound team decided to leave the Hidden Leaf Village and go back to Orochimaru. So eventually after that day, Sakura ends up waking up and telling Jiraiya about what happened, to which Jiraiya ends up telling Shikamaru to create a team to hunt them down. By them, I mean Sasuke and the Sound 4. He doesn't know that Naruto left the village as well. As Shikamaru would end up forming the team, they all begin to hunt down the Sound 4, and in this timeline, Sakura ends up accompanying them. She actually does train in this timeline, like I said, and she got some training from Kurenai as well as some medical nin, so she's actually pretty proficient in healing as well as genjutsu. So now that the team is formed, they will hunt down Sasuke, as this would enter the Sasuke retrieval arc, and the big changes here would only be the fact that now that Naruto isn't here, they're not going to have as much of an easy fight, but still nonetheless, each one of them would end up winning their fight respectively. As even the Sand team and Rock Lee helping would also play a key factor here, as I would say the only big difference here is the fact that they're not going as fast as they did, because Naruto's not there. Instead of Naruto, it's Sakura. But eventually Sakura would end up getting to Sasuke at the Valley of the End, and unfortunately for her, Sasuke isn't even gonna waste his time with her, as he doesn't see her as a true opponent. And Sakura, after hearing this, tries her best as she tries to throw an explosive kunai and also tries to use genjutsu on Sasuke, which fails horribly, since Sasuke has unlocked their Sharingan and he is stronger than he was in the main timeline, so he's able to see through Sakura's genjutsu. And soon after getting tired of seeing Sakura's attempts at trying to stop him, Sasuke decides to knock Sakura out and telling her that she was at least decent compared to how she was in the beginning, as Sakura will be knocked out by Sasuke and she would just fall unconscious. After this, Sasuke will end up walking away, but he then stops as he then calls out to Naruto, who was walking along with Kabuto out of the trees. Sasuke ends up asking Naruto for one last fight, as he tells Naruto that he's gonna beat him now. Naruto looks at Sasuke before shaking his head, telling Sasuke he isn't worth the time, and that he really honestly doesn't care about this rivalry that he had. And this pisses off Sasuke greatly as he begins to attack Naruto over and over again, as he begins to make some weird remarks saying that Naruto always looked down on him and that Naruto was not going to be better than him. Now Naruto, mind you, he simply just didn't care about the whole fight, so due to this, he was able to think more clearly than Sasuke. As the entire time as Sasuke was trying his hardest, Naruto was keeping a level head, and he would knock down any single one of Sasuke's so-called remarks towards him, as he would just completely and blatantly tell him that he never cared about this rivalry that Sasuke had imagined up in his mind, and that he never once really cared about this whole inferiority or superiority complex that Sasuke had going on. And Sasuke, after hearing this, was enraged, as he would then summon out a ginormous fireball directly towards Naruto, to which Naruto would just calmly bring out his max elephant, which ends up shooting out a ginormous amount of water from his trunk, stopping the fireball in its tracks. As Naruto tells Sasuke that he seriously does not care about this rivalry and was going to show him right here and now, Sasuke had enough about hearing any of this, as he decided to go fully into the third stage of the curse mark. Now seeing this, Naruto begins to sweat a little bit, as he realized that now he was actually going to have to take this seriously, as Sasuke ended up rushing at Naruto and was actually able to outspeed Naruto in this circumstance. As Naruto had to avoid a kick directly aimed for his head, this is when Sasuke would then suddenly end up moving his other leg to sweep kick Naruto, causing him to lose his balance, and just as he does, this is when Sasuke would then release a ginormous fireball directly into Naruto's face. As Naruto will be sent flying, he eventually regains his balance, although he's taken up some pretty decent damage, but yet he's still able to continue on fighting, as he will fight Sasuke, while also simultaneously, at the same time, he's subtly tapping into the Nine Tails and Orochimaru's chakra, as he begins to slowly begin to overpower Sasuke. Now Sasuke, seeing the fact that Naruto is getting stronger and stronger, couldn't handle it anymore, as this is when suddenly he releases another Chidori, as Sasuke ends up telling Naruto that he was going to end it all in one last blow. Now Naruto, seeing Sasuke's Chidori, with sigh, as this is when Sasuke will end up surpassing Naruto's expectations, as he ends up blitzing Naruto and appearing right in front of him with the Chidori, this time the Chidori being aimed at his heart. And just when it seemed that Sasuke was actually about to kill Naruto though, this is when Naruto would then completely disappear in front of Sasuke's eyes, with Sasuke missing the attack entirely. Now seeing this, Sasuke tries to find where Naruto is, trying to use the Sharingan to pick up on anywhere that Naruto could potentially be, only to be surprised as leaping from his shadow, we will see none other than Naruto as he had a kunai, as this is when he ends up stabbing Sasuke in the shoulder, causing him to wince in pain, before suddenly he ends up kicking Sasuke in the face, causing him to flip over and land on his back. As Sasuke tries to get up and trying to do something to Naruto, this is when he then stops, as he sees that he can no longer move. And this was due to Naruto's kunai, which had a paralyzing seal on it, preventing Sasuke from being able to move. As Naruto would walk towards Sasuke, he would then put a kunai to his neck, as this is when Sasuke then tells Naruto to finish it, only for Naruto to then slap Sasuke in the face with the kunai, surprising him. As Sasuke winces in pain, this is when Naruto then tells Sasuke blatantly that any type of relationship that Sasuke and him had, or any type of thing that Sasuke had imagined, it didn't exist in the first place. He honestly just didn't care at all. So with that in mind, this is when Naruto then tells Sasuke in a very stoic and emotionless tone that the next time that Sasuke tries anything like this against him again, or tries to bring up the so-called rivalry that he imagined, then he won't hesitate to kill him in the next fight. Now Sasuke, after hearing this, does nothing more, as he can do nothing more but clench his teeth in anger, as he ends up reverting back to his normal state before falling unconscious. As after that, Kabuto would then take Sasuke and Naruto back to Orochimaru, with Naruto really waiting to get back to his stable life and go back to just being average. As with this, we can now get a time skip. Now throughout the following years, Konoha have been trying its hardest to stay alive, as now that they lost the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki as well as the last Uchiha, they have been struggling to stand on their feet. Many villages, such as the Stone Village, saw this opportunity as they all begin to actually find a way to infiltrate Konoha, to steal things from them, or straight up just to fight them. Now luckily they still had their very powerful shinobis like Kakashi and Guy, but even though they were strong, that was not enough. And Jiraiya, he had to go and call up his spy network to go check out different things, while also forcing them to bring back Tsunade, even if it meant going against her will, as they had lost too many things and they needed all the help they can get. And elsewhere, we see Naruto and Sasuke staying at Orochimaru's, as both of them would be honestly enjoying the environment that they were in. Orochimaru was deeply interested in Naruto's technique, as he asked Naruto about all the capabilities, with Naruto just giving them away here and there. What Orochimaru didn't know was the fact that Naruto was still withholding information, since he didn't honestly really trust Orochimaru. Even though he had a bunch of bad thoughts here and there because of the Nine-Tails and the curse mark that Orochimaru placed on him, Naruto was still Naruto for a reason. Although he did leave the Hidden Leaf Village, which he does not regret, that doesn't mean he's gonna let Orochimaru do whatever he wants. But as time goes on, we see both Naruto and Sasuke growing way stronger, as Sasuke was so strong that he actually ended up learning Kirin, which was obviously an S-rank jutsu. Although Naruto, he himself, although he was extremely good with ninjutsu, he was way better at just using hand-to-hand combat, as well as he was incredibly good at assassination. As no one would be able to see Naruto, no one can sense him when he's watching you, no one can see his movements, he does it quickly. And the fact that Naruto can combine this with the 10 Shadows technique makes him terrifying. He can sink into people's shadow and just appear out in front of them without anyone even noticing. He can steal information with ease like it's nothing. And it got so bad to the point where Orochimaru had to make a reminder to Kabuto and himself that under any circumstances, if it came down to fighting either Sasuke or Naruto, to always fight Sasuke. Cause in any other circumstances that he fought Naruto in, he would literally die. Cause all Naruto's techniques are just meant to do the one thing, kill. There's no presentation, there's no hand signs, except for bringing out Shikigami. Naruto's just able to do it instantly, which terrifies Orochimaru. So as we now turn back to the present, as we see Naruto just calmly sitting down as he was watching over the Sand Village. You see, Naruto throughout this time has gained a new objective, as right now, before he can get his fully accomplished average life, he needs to take care of the Akatsuki, as he knows that these guys are not going to stop at anything unless they capture the Nine-Tails, to which he had. Now as Naruto is there chilling, this is when suddenly he would then close his eyes, as when he opens them again, he would then have the familiar eyes of a snake, as this will be Snake Sage mode. That's right, Naruto had accomplished the one thing that Orochimaru failed at, and the one thing that Sasuke hadn't achieved either, Sage mode. As instead of getting the Toad contract from Jiraiya, Naruto got it from Orochimaru, and this allowed Naruto to actually learn and master Sage mode. Unlike Sasuke, who still had his own problems to deal with, Naruto was much easier in letting go of things, since at this point Naruto didn't really harbor any hatred or anything like that. He just simply was someone who just wanted to have an average life. All he really got was annoyed. And although yes, the Nine Tails as well as the curse mark was influencing him, he was still able to overcome it all. I mean, after all, you're comparing a kid Naruto to a much older one who has experienced much more things. So due to this, Naruto was able to master Sage Mode. But back to the story, we see Naruto standing there as he ends up entering Sage Mode, as he looks up into the sky to see Deidara and Sasori as they were here to pick up the One Tails. As Naruto sees them, he decides to just go for the kill, as this is when Naruto would then suddenly sink into his shadow. Now, as both of them were currently in the air looking at Suna, preparing to take them down, this is when suddenly, as Deidara was going to talk to Sasori about their plan, he ends up looking at Sasori only to see that number 1, Sasori was gone. Number 2, the puppet that was usually meant to be a shell for himself, as well as to hide his identity, it was gone as well. It was completely destroyed and it was right in front of him. He'll be looking around confused, as this is when suddenly he ends up feeling a presence behind him. Turning around, he ends up seeing Naruto just casually on his own work of art. This being the exploding owl. Yeah, he'll be on top of it, and at the same time he'll be holding Sasori's head. And seeing this causes Deidara to act fast, as this is when he then rigs the owl to explode, as he ends up jumping off with it exploding right above Suna. This ends up catching people's attention as Deidara ends up forming a new owl to ride on, as he thinks that he's got Naruto. Only to be surprised as from the smoke he sees Naruto falling, but he had no small damage at all. He didn't get damaged. His clothes didn't even get damaged, as Naruto had a calm smile on his face. Feeling the air on his face, this is when Naruto would then suddenly summon out Nue, as he ends up taking to the skies. Now when Nue ends up capturing Naruto and ends up flying him up in the air, this is when once again Deidara tries to send out multiple different explosions at Naruto, to which Nue was able to destroy them all, summoning out lightning. And Deidara seeing this would be very impressed, although he's very upset by the fact that his art was getting destroyed, but that didn't matter as he had another way of doing things. As after sending out multiple explosions all around, to which Nue was able to destroy them all, Deidara finally had enough as he decides to bring out a small little bird that he was planning to drop all over Suna, which was going to take out a large portion of the village. Now Gaara seeing this tries to protect his village the best he can, as Deidara was preparing to drop it, only for him to be surprised. This is when he then gets stabbed in the chest. At this, his eyes go wide and he ends up turning around only to see Naruto there, who had a very calm smirk on his face. I win. Deidara was in shock. He couldn't sense him, he couldn't feel him, he couldn't do anything. It was as if Naruto just completely vanished. As he wondered how he even did that, this is when he tries to do his last attempt at trying to show off his art, that being self-destruction. But before he could do anything further, it was already too late, as Naruto had already chopped off his head right before he could even get the chance. Naruto would look at Deidara as he went as his head would fall to the ground, as just like that, the owl that he was on top on was then rigged to explode, with Naruto getting caught up in it. Everyone will watch the display in shock as they couldn't believe what just happened, wondering who any of those guys were. All the while, Gaara, who was looking up into the sky, would actually see who it was, as he was surprised to see that it was Naruto, with him wondering why exactly is he back. Since, to be fair, throughout this entire time, the disappearance of Naruto has been unknown. No one knows where he is. Now, Konoha has speculated that Orochimaru had took him away, but yet the thing is, there is no proof of that at all. So they have no idea where he's been or what happened to him. So for Gaara to see him, he was actually deeply in shock. All the while, as we turn to a different location, we see Naruto currently walking off, as he had just finished off killing both Deidara and Sasori, which only brings down a total of 4 Akatsuki members. And for those who didn't understand, if you guys don't know, Naruto throughout the entire time skip, he actually had been hunting down members of the Akatsuki. After all, they interfere in his plans, and due to that, he decides to get rid of them, especially since they're going to be going after the Nine Tails. Now, as Naruto ends up walking off, once again feeling bliss, as the last few Akatsuki members, he was already locating where Kisame was, as he wanted to pay him back about what he did, while at the same time he already knows that Itachi was going to be taken care of by Sasuke. As Naruto continues contemplating about his plans for the future, this is when he then sighs as he decides it was time for him to go, as he ends up exiting out of Sage Mode, while at the same time he ends up using his shadow to store away the katana that he used to kill both Deidara and Sasori. Naruto's skills have grown exponentially throughout these following years, and it was really beginning to show as he decides to head back to Orochimaru. Now when Naruto arrived back at Orochimaru's, he'll be first welcomed by Kabuto, who ends up asking Naruto about everything that's been happening. Now truth be told, Kabuto was actually greatly terrified of Naruto, as he had been shown to grow stronger exponentially fast. And the craziest thing is, even though Naruto was extremely strong, all he wanted to do was live an average life when he was anything but average. Naruto's potential was off the charts, yet the boy did not care about any of that, as Naruto would just continue on finishing off any objective that he needs to before going back to doing what he usually does. Whether it be planting stuff or just sitting down in his house and eating some food, it didn't matter. All Naruto wanted to do was just do his thing. As we see both Naruto and Kabuto continue to talk to each other, this is where we will then turn to Konoha. Now throughout this time, Konoha had been trying to find out any trace of where Orochimaru or Sasuke is, while Jiraiya tries his best to maintain the village the best he can. You see, if you were to compare Konoha to how it was in the beginning to compare to how it was now, you would think it would be a totally different village, as a lot of the citizens who were there actually were forced to move away because of the fact they couldn't handle the danger that Konoha was in. Their top tier shinobis were running on barely any energy, as well as the fact they also had barely any mission requests from other villages, since Konoha was no longer, one of the top villages anymore, if you can even call it a village. Jiraiya tried his best to maintain the entire village, but even then, after losing so many great resources, it was hard to come back on it, especially since they don't even have a Jinchuriki as a weapon at all. And it got so bad to the point where Danzo was also reinstated along with Ru, since they had nothing else to do. Danzo himself had been extremely furious and disappointed in Jiraiya by the fact that he let the village get this weak, as well as the fact that he lost the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki and the last Uchiha. He was disgusted by the fact of what he was doing, yet there was nothing else he could do. The best he can do right now is try to stop Orochimaru, get back to Uchiha, and that was it. As for the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, well, he had no idea where it could possibly be. He sent out his route trying to find it, but every single time they just can't stumble upon him. So needless to say, the Hidden Leaf Village was really going down to shit, as they tried their best to maintain their forces. But back to Naruto, we see him back in his home as he'll be currently gardening and just relaxing while listening to some melody that he picked up. As Naruto was listening to this and enjoying himself, this is when he would then be called upon by Orochimaru. You see, Orochimaru had grown very ill and weak, as the vessel he's been using has been completely weakened and he can no longer hold on to it or use it. So due to this, Orochimaru had decided to make the choice on whether getting Sasuke or Naruto, and although it was a very long debate in his mind, he decided to go with Naruto since his abilities and skill set were just on a higher level. So when Orochimaru ended up telling Naruto about the little deal, as he ended up telling Naruto that it was finally time for him to pay up, Naruto would just smile and seemingly accept his fate, to which Orochimaru would think that he was going to get away with it, only for him to be surprised, as this is when suddenly he would then get stabbed in the chest, as he would end up looking down in shock, as this sword was actually familiar, as it was the same sword that he used to kill the third Hokage. He turned around only to see another Naruto, as Naruto had used the Shadow Clone Jutsu, to which Orochimaru didn't teach him. Mind you, Orochimaru kept away some jutsus from Naruto, since he understood that if Naruto got the hands of these jutsus, he'll be way too powerful to stop. And it seems as if Naruto got his hands on one of them, and probably the most dangerous one. As Orochimaru curses out Naruto, trying to stop him, this is when he would then feel himself get bombarded by multiple slash marks as Naruto brutalized Orochimaru. As after that, Orochimaru would then die, right there on the spot, as Naruto would be looming over him before kicking him in the face, deciding that it was finally time for him to continue on with his life, as now all he needs to do was take care of the Akatsuki. Now as Naruto was preparing to leave though, he would then be approached by Sasuke, who ends up asking where Orochimaru is, since he was going to get more training in. Naruto just ignores Sasuke as he ends up walking off, with Sasuke once again asking him, this time forcefully, where Orochimaru was. To which Naruto sighs as he ends up telling Sasuke with a once again stoic expression that he killed Orochimaru. This causes Sasuke to stop and freeze up, as he couldn't believe that Naruto was actually able to take care of Orochimaru that easily. Now as he blares the Sharingan as he prepares to actually fight Naruto as a way of testing out his strength, this is when suddenly he then feels a blade at his neck. He turns around to see another Naruto that was holding the blade with a stoic expression, and not only that, but he also feels himself being surrounded, as when he turns back around he would also see himself surrounded by the divine dogs, Nue, and a bunch of other creatures. As Naruto would look at Sasuke, he tells Sasuke to be careful next time, as he ends up leaving the area, with Sasuke cursing in his mind, telling Naruto to fight him. Now we see Naruto leaving the area calmly, as now that he had taken care of Orochimaru, he felt more free than before. But now it's finally time for him to be completely free, as now he needs to finish off the Akatsuki, as he was going to go after Kisame, and if he ends up encountering Itachi as well then screw Sasuke, he was going to end him as well. As after that, we'll have another brief time skip, as Naruto had been going on the hunt for Kisame. Now he gotten a lot of information after scoping around, and for money Naruto just did some bounty hunting, as he ends up killing off any target that gets in his way. Now throughout this time though, Naruto will end up encountering a weird little village, as this will be the land of the demons. If you guys don't know, this was in the Naruto the movie, the 2007 one, as this is when Naruto actually ended up encountering the young priestess that was there, that being Shion. Now, at first Naruto didn't really care about the girl since he ended up meeting her accidentally as he was going to hunt down this one guy, but over time Naruto and her would actually begin to get along with each other. The main reason for this one is she keeps on following Naruto here and there, with Naruto telling her to leave him alone, which she doesn't. She sticks to Naruto the entire time, and even though she gets caught up in danger here and there, Naruto will be able to rescue her easily, taking care and killing off any enemy that got in their way. And although Naruto never once got injured or never once got caught in any danger, she would always end up being there to check on him, asking him questions, asking if he was alright, and trying to make sure that he was safe. Now Naruto was very confused about all this stuff since, like I said, most of the time Naruto just kept people at a distance, yet for some reason he kept allowing her to openly just approach him. It was weird. But as time continues to go on with the two of them, as Naruto would stay in the land of demons just for a little bit more, he eventually ends up realizing what he was feeling. As in this timeline, both Shion and Naruto were able to get together. Now Naruto actually falling completely head over heels for her, and this actually caused him to honestly begin to change his tune, as he actually contemplated of staying in the land of the demons and actually thinking of, spending his entire life with her. Like, things were getting intense between the two. But the thing is, unfortunately, Naruto knew that there were some enemies out there that were going to get in the way. Enemies that he needed to take care of, such as pain, as well as the Akatsuki. So although it was very heartbreaking, Naruto ended up telling her that he ended up having to leave the area, to which was very sad, but he ends up promising her that he's going to come back. So with one heartfelt goodbye, Naruto would go back on his way, as he decides to put an end to all of this. But before he does, he realizes he needs to accomplish a few more things. Since by this point, Naruto had studied up enough information on the Akatsuki to the point where he now knew who the leader was, that being Pain. Now the information on Pain was very scarce, and there was not much information known on him, except for the fact that he was wielding the Rinnegan. That was the only thing, and the Rinnegan was shrouded in mystery since all its abilities had not been found out for many years. So Naruto needed to really approach this one with very big caution. And although he had a pretty generous amount of weapons stored in his shadow, as well as the fact he had a lot of Shikigami, that wasn't going to be enough. So due to this, Naruto decided to bring out his ultimate weapon, and decided to finally tame it and control it. As we see Naruto face off against Maharaga. The fight between the two of them would be of epic proportions, as we see both of them going at it blow for blow. Maharaga showing that he's way more physically stronger than Naruto, with Naruto showing that he at least had more skill and technique. And after a while of exchanging blows, this is when Naruto then decides to bring it up even further, as he decides to incorporate Shikigami into the fight. Now as he does, he ends up merging his new way with a few other Shikigami, forming this new creation which was possible regeneration and also controlling lightning, as he will face off against Maharaga. But that was not the only one, as Naruto would also combine the two divine dogs, as well as bringing out the max elephant combined with the toad, resulting in these weird looking creatures that were still able to keep up with Maharaga. But the thing is, like I said, Maharaga is the general and it's the strongest one. So due to this, it was still able to keep up and was actually beating on all three of these combinations. Now Naruto, after seeing this, decided to incorporate a plan during this one, as Naruto had gathered a large amount of resources and weapons throughout this entire point of the story. And due to this, Naruto decided that he was going to finish off Maharaga the one way he knew how to. This being setting up a trap. As Maharaga would finish off the rest of the Shikigami, it would then turn to Naruto before rushing at him, with Naruto smirking. As Maharaga would then approach, this is when suddenly he would then fall into Naruto's trap. As Naruto would then suddenly end up summoning out multiple amounts of ninja wire that ends up holding down Maharaga. Now Maharaga tries to break free from it as it thrashes around, And as it does, it actually begins to slowly break free from this thing, but it was taking a while. And the reason for this one was because this chakra wire was actually very special. You see, on the very few attempts that Naruto had tried to face off against Mahoraga, he himself had also been studying it. Its adaptation, its ability, its strength, all of its stuff. As Naruto was able to analyze it all, even though he was beaten to near death. And due to this, Naruto had gathered all the materials he could for this one specific moment. The moment where he could take down Mahoraga. So as Mahoraga was slowly breaking free from the ninja wire, this is when Naruto would then suddenly end up bringing out the Kirin. You see, throughout this time, Naruto had analyzed Sasuke's jutsus as well, as he had been able to be there and witness it all as Orochimaru trained Naruto in using it. Naruto was able to understand the properties and was actually able to get it down, learning both the Chidori and the Kirin. But you see, this Kirin was special as it was also infused in the Senjutsu of the Curse Mark. As with this, Naruto ends up ending it off with a thunderclap. As just like that, a thunder dragon infused with Senjutsu would then fall from the sky and collapse right on top of Mahoraga, destroying it all completely. As Naruto would be there witnessing all the destruction he caused, he could do nothing more but actually smile as he finally ended up mastering this 10 Shadows technique as he collapsed on his back, as that took almost everything he had. Now, as time would then pass once again, we see Naruto end up arriving at the location where Kisame was. Which ironically enough, Sasuke, who had been at this entire point of the story been looking for Itachi, he actually ended up stumbling upon Itachi's lair, leaving Kisame to be by himself. Now Naruto would face off against Kisame as the two would then fight each other. Now Kisame was actually very impressed by Naruto's strength, as he remembered actually fighting the kid a long time ago, but he couldn't believe the kid grew this strong. Now as he does though, as Kisame tries to fight off against Naruto, only for Kisame to be completely taken care of as Naruto is able to take apart Kisame one bit at a time. As he ends up cancelling out all of Kisame's jutsus, ends up using his Shikigami to trap Kisame, and after that he was able to land the finishing blow, as he was able to actually stab Kisame, this time in the head, finishing him off. As just like that, Naruto had finished off his third member of the Akatsuki, and later on we would eventually find out that Itachi was also taken care of by Sasuke. This only left Pain, or at least that's what Naruto thought. As Naruto once again headed out, ready to take care of Pain and put an end to all of this, he had no idea that in the shadows people were lurking and were already making their next move. Pain as well as Konan had actually speculated about Naruto's movement to the point where Pain had decided that he was going to take care of Naruto now. While at the same time, in a different location, we see White Zetsu communicating with none other than, well, Obito, as they were trying to form up a plan, but currently right now, things were now looking very dicey. As thanks to the fact of Naruto's interference, the Akatsuki were not able to capture that many tailed beasts like they did in the main timeline, so Obito's plan was falling apart fast. As Obito tries to find out a reason for this, White Zetsu ended up explaining about who was the one behind it, as it took a great deal of many years to find out who was doing it, but finally he was able to finally see it. Although it was only for a split second, he saw that it was Naruto Uzumaki, the Jinchuriki who many had thought had passed away. And after finding this out, Obito's one Sharingan eye will be gleaming as he prepares to take care of Naruto. In a different location, we see Naruto once again completing his training regimen as he prepares to finish off Pain as well as Konan. He finally got the information about where they might appear, and that will be during the time of Dryad the Gallant, as he was going to head out there now. And after a little bit of a time skip, we will see Naruto arrive there as he will be at Amagakure. It was raining profusely, yet Naruto didn't care at all, as he does a little bit of stretch marks here and there, ready to wrap up everything. He ends up pulling out his trusty Kusanagi blade that he stole from Orochimaru, as he ends up preparing for the fight up ahead. Now just as he does though, this is when suddenly he feels missiles approaching, as the Pains had finally showed up. Naruto ends up dodging out the way of these missiles, as just as he does, this is when suddenly from behind him he hears Konan, as she ends up sending out a bunch of paper-like missiles towards him as well, except these things were incredibly sharp. But Naruto was still able to avoid them, as he'll be face to face facing off against two members of the Akatsukis, this being one of them being one of the Pains and the other one being Konan. Yet Naruto was able to deal with both of them, as he was able to fight both of them to a standstill. However, unfortunately though, this is when Naruto would then hear the rest of the Pain end up approaching, as he ends up tapping into Senjutsu. As the rest of the Pains would then appear, they all begin to get to jumping Naruto, as Naruto will be facing off against all of them, using his shadow to end up disappearing and appearing behind them to land some quick attacks, while at the same time he ends up trying to get some distance. However, unfortunately, this strategy does not last long, as this is when the original Pain would then suddenly end up calling out with a Bashon Tenin, as it ends up calling Naruto towards him. And just as Naruto is closing in, this is when he ends up hitting Naruto with a Shinra Tensei, blasting Naruto away by force as he ends up getting some damage, and not only that, but he ends up slamming into a wall hard. Naruto ends up wincing in pain as he doesn't get a chance to recover, as this is when the rest of the Pains would then attack, as one of them tries to rip off Naruto's souls while the other one summons out a ginormous bird that tries to slam into Naruto. Naruto, seeing this, would dodge out the way as he's able to sense all these attacks, and with Senjutsu as well as the increased physical strength, he's able to dodge the way out of all these things. Now Naruto continues on fighting off against all the Pains as he still ends up landing killing blow after killing blow. But as Naruto continues fighting off against the Pain, this is when suddenly the King of Hell would then arrive onto the battlefield, as it ends up showing that the Pains have been completely recovered, surprising Naruto. And due to this, Naruto would be so caught off guard that he didn't realize that once again the original Pain was appearing right in front of him, as he ends up once again blasting Naruto with the Shinra Tensei, this time slamming him so hard into the ground that Naruto actually ends up bleeding on his head. Now Naruto ends up looking up as he feels a little bit dazed from the blow, but he's still able to dodge out the way from their attacks, although barely. Now to the Pains, they think that they finally got Naruto, as they think that they were finally going to be able to finish him off and continue on with their plan, only to be surprised as this one suddenly appearing from Naruto's shadow, multiple different creatures will then appear, as this will be the fight between the 10 shadows and the 6 path of Pains. As the shadows would then rush over, as Naruto would end up using the rabbit escape to end up making a distraction, as Nui would take to the sky with the divine dogs also rushing as well, as every last one of them would face off against a member of the Pains. Now as they continue fighting though, as Naruto watches all this is when he then fights off against the original Pain, since the other ones were preoccupied facing off against the other animals. Now as Naruto fights off against the original Pain, he was actually having a pretty good time, since although the Rinnegan was definitely very powerful, the thing is, Pain can only go so far with his body. So he was trying his best to outdone Pain in everything, in speed, strength, all of it. But the one thing that he couldn't get past that very well was the Shinra Tensei, as Pain was just able to continue spamming it, causing Naruto to not be able to get too close to him. So due to this, Naruto decided that the only way he could be able to get past it was by bringing out his ultimate weapon. As with this, he ends up taking on the familiar hand signs once again, before suddenly deciding to release the chant. With this treasure, I summon. As with that, Naruto would then suddenly end up calling upon Mahoraga. As Mahoraga would then summon out onto the field, his pressure would instantly change the tide of the entire battle. As this when suddenly Pain tries to blow it away with the Shinra Tensei, which ends up taking the blow, only for it to continue walking through the Shinra Tensei, surprising Pain. At this, Naruto ends up smirking at Pain, as this when suddenly he ends up getting attacked by Konan, causing him to dodge out the way as Mahoraga would face off against Pain. These two would go at it as Pain tries to throw everything he can, using Bashon Tenin and Shinra Tensei, as well as using his chakra rods to disrupt the chakra flow of Mahoraga, but they did nothing to stop it, as Mahoraga was way too durable, as it was able to break through the chakra rods easily, and it was also easily adapting to any of the techniques that Pain can throw at it. And it got so bad to the point where Pain was too focused on Mahoraga to realize that he actually been caught. As suddenly appearing right behind Pain, we would see Naruto, as this is when he then stabs Pain right in the neck, surprising him. Pain is unable to believe it as he tries to activate the Shinra Tensei, only for him to be suddenly slammed down to the ground hard with a slash across his chest by none other than Mahoraga, as he was holding the Sword of Extermination. As Pain feels his chakra as well as his consciousness slowly fade, this is when he ends up looking up into the sky to see none other than both Mahoraga and Naruto approaching him, as Naruto was bringing him down with the Kusanagi blade while Mahoraga was using the Sword of Extermination. Seeing this, Pain was not going to allow this, as this is when he then resorts to using the Chibaku Tensei, which ends up sucking up everything in the area, including Naruto and Mahoraga, as well as the rest of the Shikigami along with the rest of the paths of Pain, as he was going to annihilate them all in order to make sure that Naruto dies. As he ends up screaming up into the sky as he tries his best to land a planetary devastation though, As using everything he could, this is when Pain would actually end up landing the planetary devastation, with Naruto as well as the rest of the Path of Pains, as well as the rest of the Shikigami all in there, as he ends up summoning it hard into Amagakure. By the time the explosion was done and by the time the damage was done, Pain looked completely different to how he was in the beginning, as back then he was calm and composed, but now he looked shriveled up as he wasted all his energy using that one technique. But it was worth it, as he thought he'd taken care of Naruto, only for him to be in shock, as while the rest of the Pains had been killed off by the attack, as well as a lot of Naruto Shikigamis, Naruto himself along with Madaraga were able to escape the attack. Well, not escape it, more like they were able to endure it. As we see Naruto there, who was bleeding profusely, but it seemed like he didn't care, as Madaraga was also standing there, standing tall, but it was still smiling. As Naruto would be there, he would then suddenly end up looking at Pain, with Pain being unable to do anything, as this when Naruto didn't do something horrifying. He would smile. And this smile would be so disturbing, as it will be showing Naruto's true nature right now. It will be Naruto if he really did not hold back. If he didn't want to be average at all, if he wanted to live to his fullest potential, that would be what Pain would be saying, as he would see Naruto with this maniac-like smile, as he ends up bringing up the Kusanagi blade, deciding to finish it. As Pain says nothing more as he closes his eyes, already accepting his fate, as just like that, both Madaraga and Naruto would then end up cutting off Pain's head, finishing off the battle. After this, a few events that played off in the main timeline will play off here, as Naruto would go to Nagato. However, instead of giving him a speech like he usually does, Naruto just finishes off Nagato instantly. Although Nagato does end up giving his last final words to Naruto, Naruto just took them and doesn't say anything else as he decides to kill him off. Now while he killed off Nagato, he also ended up taking away the Rinnegan knives as he realized how dangerous they could be. So after putting them in a containment jar that he stole from Orochimaru and sealed up in his shadow, he ends up putting it away, as just like that Naruto ended up leaving the area. But just as Naruto was trying to leave the area though, this is when he then suddenly ends up trying to get sneak attacked by none other than Obito, as he had saw how Naruto had taken away the Rinnegan, which was very crucial for his plan and he couldn't allow it any further. He rushed over at Naruto and was trying to kill him, only for Naruto to dodge the attack. As now that Obito has revealed his position as well as revealed his intentions, it was finally time for the two of them to fight, and finally put an end to all of this. As this is when we then see both Obito and Naruto fight off against each other. Naruto would try landing killing blows on Obito, but thanks to the Kamui, it was impossible, as any attack he would try to throw that would be a killing blow would phase right through him. All the while, Obito was enjoying his time as he slowly takes apart Naruto, who, mind you, was still pretty damaged from the fight against Pain. So due to this, he wasn't at 100% capacity. Yet Naruto continued fighting off against Obito, and as he does, Obito begins to slowly overwhelm Naruto, who is trying his hardest to fight back. Luckily though, this is when, in a very surprising twist, Naruto would then get an influx of Nine Tails energy, as the Nine Tails had been sick about what Obito was doing, as well as the fact that he wanted to get his own revenge on Obito. And what better way than doing it than using his very own vessel. So now feeding Naruto a bunch of his Nine Tails chakra, Naruto would feel himself getting an extra boost to the point where he's now able to use the Ten Shadows technique once again. Seeing this causes Obito to once again freeze up, but he's not afraid at all, as he begins to mock Naruto for his pathetic attempt and telling him that he's still gonna die. As he ends up shooting Naruto a generous fireball, Naruto would once again counter it, as he summons out the Max Elephant to counter the attack. And seeing this, Naruto also brings out the rest of the Shikigami as they all begin to try jumping Obito. This ends up resulting in Obito trying his hardest to fight back, but unfortunately he's unable to do anything. He tries his best to appear and disappear, but the thing is, every single time he would appear, he would be nearly getting hit by either one of Niue's attacks, or one of the Divine Dogs, or one of the rabbits even. It was crazy. All around, different types of creatures were trying to attack him. And even worse was the fact that Naruto, he was actually able to land blows on Obito. As thanks to Naruto's ability to hide his presence, as well as the fact he's able to hide in his shadow or sneak up on Obito, this caused Obito to actually feel Naruto appear behind him and actually get a few cuts in here and there. This fight would continue on for so long, but the thing is, Naruto was not able to land a critical blow on Obito, as every single time Obito had the Kamui, or at least he did. As Naruto would once again see Obito attempt to use Kamui, This is when he then decides to actually end up getting sucked in along with Obito, surprising him, as this is when Naruto would then appear in the Kamui dimension. Now Naruto would be so caught off guard by this that he would actually end up getting sneak attacked by Obito, who ends up stabbing Naruto in the stomach, causing him to take a great deal amount of damage, as well as the fact he ends up kicking Naruto away. Naruto ends up standing up, but once again he's still pretty injured, and not only that, but the Nine Tails' energy is still not enough, as it seemed like Naruto was actually about to have his back against the wall. As he prepared to summon out Maharaga, this is when he then stops, as finally he felt himself end up reaching this new level of enlightenment. He felt it. Although things seemed to be completely up against him and his best bet was Maharaga, it seems as though right now he had everything under control. As this is when Obito would be approaching Naruto once again, trying to get the Rinnegan. This is when he would then stop, as this is when Naruto would then end up forming familiar hand signs. He ends up closing his eyes for a few seconds before suddenly he ends up smiling, and this time he once again ends up showing that smile that he gave pain. The smile that showed what would it be like if he were to reach his full potential. As Naruto ends up smiling at Obito, this is when he then decides that he was going to do it for this one time only. He didn't care about living an average life at this very moment. All he cared about was finishing off Obito. And that's exactly what he was going to do. As this is when Naruto would then say the words, Domain Expansion, Chimera Shadow Garden. At the response to Naruto's words, the entire scenery would then change, surprising Obito as he couldn't believe it. It was impossible, yet Naruto did it. In the place that was supposed to be his very own domain, it had shifted, as by now he was now locked in. He couldn't escape the Kamui dimension, if you can even call it that, as the entire area had warped, as he was now surrounded by this weird dark liquid that was surrounding the entire area. It was a reddish and dark color, and as he wondered about what to do as he tries to activate Kamui, it failed. He couldn't believe it, he was locked in here. He curses at Naruto once again as he tries to shoot a fireball, only to stop as he feels his hand get cut off. He widens his eyes in shock, as this is when suddenly he ends up getting slapped in the face by a wing from Nue, as he didn't get slapped once, but twice, no, 4 times, as this is when he then feels himself get bombarded by different Nues, which was impossible, since Naruto was only able to bring out one, right? As Obito was finally able to open his eyes once again, as by this point his mask had been completely destroyed by the Nues that were attacking him, he would then be taken in by the horrifying sight. Naruto being in the center of it all, as he had a smile on his face. This is when he ends up seeing himself surrounded, as right in front of him, all the Shikigami that Naruto had been able to summon out were all here in multiple forms. The frogs, the serpent, the elephant, the Nue, the divine dogs, and Maharaga. Multiple copies of it, in fact. He'll be standing there in front of all these different things, as he'll be there in shock. He couldn't believe it. There was no way. Yet here it was, standing right in front of him. As this looked like hell. As he couldn't say anything more as he looked at Naruto, as Naruto would look at him with a smile. This is when we would then see the end of Obito, as he'd be bombarded by all of them, as all you would hear is the cry and scream of Obito. We now turn to finally the end of it all, as finally the domain would then completely end up being destroyed, as Naruto could not maintain the technique any longer. The Nine Tails stopped giving chakra to Naruto, and due to this, Naruto was finally able to rest, as he ends up collapsing on the ground. As after this, Naruto would end up waking up back in his own reality once again, as he ends up having a complete smile on his face. He had just finished off the Akatsuki, he put an end to it all, and now he was able to live his lavish life. He didn't know what was going to come after him, but he didn't care anymore. He achieved all that he could, and that was exactly what he was going to go for. As after that, we would then have a time skip, as we see Naruto eventually end up returning back to Shion, as well as the land of the demons, as he'll spend the rest of his life there along with her. They'll continue on with the relationship all the way until marriage, and eventually having kids of their own, as they will enjoy their lives together. As for Konoha, they had to go through their own struggles, as Naruto, since he's not there to carry out the story, and also since Sasuke left as well, this ended up causing them to be bombarded by other villages, causing the fall of Konoha. And although it was a very shocking news to go all around, Konoha still fought to the very end, as it really showed that even at the end of it all, they still had the will of fire. As for Naruto as well as the land of the demons, they actually had enjoyed their lives in peace. Although there will be trouble here and there, they will be able to take care of it thanks to Naruto. And thanks to Naruto's appearance there, many people would actually arrive at the village, hoping to join it or hoping to find comfort there, as the land of the demons would be known as this local peaceful area, which although some would try to intervene in it, they would never last long, as every single time there will be someone there to stop it. As we now see the final moments of these What If with Naruto enjoying himself to the fullest, as he will be there enjoying the time with his wife and his family, as this will be the end to What If Naruto had the 10 shadows technique. Hopefully you guys do enjoy yourselves on this What If. I really worked really hard to get it out here. The reason why it took so long was because of the fact that, guys, I've been studying a lot. Since if you guys don't know, the final exams are coming up soon and I want to pass it with high remarks. But the thing is, I just needed to study as hard as I can. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to bring out content here and there. Don't worry, content is definitely coming. I got a few good What Ifs right there in the back burner, don't worry about it. But if you have some suggestions, comment down below, I'll check them out. And either way, it's your host Stacey Samurai, and it's time for him to sign off. Peace, and have a lovely freaking day. Bye!